The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, the bacon is sizzling. Welcome to the Daily Swole.
Welcome everyone to episode 140 of the Daily Mother Swole. And this is my baseball. Welcome to my baseball. Let me do that again for anyone that might just be joining me. Coming in now, we just got a bunch of people coming in. So come on in. I feel like, you know what? I feel like a double intro today. Welcome, everyone, to episode 140 of the Daily Mother Swole. That's right, the double intro. And you know what? I'll tell you honestly, I could do a triple intro if I wanted to, just because this is my show. And that's as far as my ego is going to take it, is a double intro. Because I'm not gonna expose you to that much flexing. But it is Flex Friday, and the reason why I did a double flex is because it's a great intro to Flex Friday, which is our topic, isometric contractions. Now, let's just get this vernacular out of the way. When people talk about flexing, when you say the word flex, you actually mean contract. Flexing is not an actual activity. There's no such thing as flexing a muscle, it's flexing a joint. You can flex or extend a joint. Contracting a muscle, squeezing a muscle will actually shorten the muscle tissue. So when you flex your elbow, you're actually contracting and shortening the muscle, the biceps, but you can flex your elbow and not really contract the biceps and leave it limp. So you have to squeeze the muscle. But that's not really what's important. But what I'm talking about today, isometric contractions, is when you're squeezing the muscle's not changing length, it's not getting shorter and it's not getting longer, but you are producing tension, you are squeezing. Just like when you're holding a weight at the top and you're holding it, or you're holding a pull-up and you're holding at the top, or you're doing a push-up and you're holding at the top, or you're holding at the bottom and you're like freezing in position, that's called an isometric contraction. You're obviously doing work. You're holding your body up against gravity, but you're not moving up and down. So you're doing like an isometric, you're doing a holding contraction. Now that's really important because it's the second strongest type of contraction your body can do. If you're looking to get stronger, doing isometric contractions and focusing more on isometric contractions is very important. This is why when you do a set, you should hold a full contraction. Don't just swing the weight up and down. I'm just going to use the idea and the concept of bicep curls a lot just because I'm standing here. You could see my arms. I could show them easier when I'm live right here. Just if you're joining me for the first time, remember you can catch me live on Facebook, on Swolenormous on Facebook. You can catch me on Periscope, Busker, also live. You can see every single Daily Swole on YouTube and also the podcast on SoundCloud, iTunes, and Stitcher. So you can get me live, you can get me video, you can get me audio. You can do all three. That's hot. I like it. So doing isometric contractions during the workout, make sure you hold every full contraction. When you're doing a bench press, when you're doing a pushing movement, push all the way up and squeeze at the top. When you're doing a bicep curl, squeeze at the top. Give your body a moment of pause because there's more time under tension, and you are also working a stronger range of that muscle contraction, and you're going to get a lot out of it, flushing muscle into that area. So squeeze hard. Make sure you squeeze hard. Number 2 is squeeze hard because this is titled 5 tips for isometric training. So first one, hold that full contraction and squeeze the muscle hard. You want to create as much internal tension during that full contraction as possible, and holding it for a second or two is going to flush a lot of blood and get a lot of neural stimulus into those fibers. Very important. Make sure you don't just do a half-ass and okay, it's up there and it's not moving. No, squeeze and try to pop every freaking fiber in your biceps, for example, when you're squeezing. Do more of these isometric exercises and reps during working sets. I saw someone post something about doing it at the end to burn out. That's a great way. That's a great way to use isometrics, but try doing them more during working sets. Remember, you have different capacities for your muscles. If you do the same pattern, the same routine where you do isometrics always when you're fatigued at the end, you never really get the full benefit of doing isometric contractions. So also do them when you're healthy, when you're more rested at the beginning or in the middle of your workout. Try them at different times, see how you feel, give your biceps or your muscles the experience during different phases of their fatigue, so to speak. So do them more during working sets as well. Try them out. You won't regret it, that's for sure. It helps to increase strength. So if you want to go heavier in weight, but you can't lift the weight up, well, you can grab a heavier weight, kind of, finagle it off a rack or something like that, so you can hold it at the top and do an isometric hold. You might not be able to concentrically contract it. You might not be able to lift or curl the weight, but if you put the bar like a middle range part of a squat rack and lift it off and just do an isometric hold, you can give your biceps resistance and overload that it wouldn't necessarily be able to lift from the bottom up to the top. This is a similar concept with doing negatives and eccentric contractions. If you're trying to get stronger, how do you get stronger if you're not strong enough? How do you lift 100 if you can only lift 90? You don't want to swing because then you're going to risk hurting your back or something like that. But you can load something up off the rack. You can do assisted negatives. If you've ever watched my exercise videos or my Swole motions or anything where you'll see me doing bicep curls on a preacher bench, one arm. I love doing one arm preacher curls because I use the other arm to spot and help on the way up so I can get a real good isometric and an eccentric contraction on the way down, a good negative. So isometrics are great. Make sure you can adjust and you can spot or modify your repetitions in order to overload a little bit more so those muscles get more stress, so they get more broken down and they'll develop more in the long run. So little tips and tricks. Last one, where I just touched upon it a little while ago, is it's good for a burnout. It's good for a burnout. It's good for when the muscle's exhausted. Remember, the isometric contraction is stronger. Isometric contraction is stronger than the concentrics. When you're lifting from the bottom to the top, you're weaker, so that part's going to burn out. That part of the range, thank you for the hearts, everyone, that part of the range from the bottom to the top is going to be weaker. You're going to burn that out. After that, your set's over. If you can't lift anymore from the bottom to the top, your set's over. Well, you can still lift the weight up and hold it at the top for, let's say, 5-10 seconds or do more reps like that in order to get more, quote, isometric repetitions in to fatigue the muscle more in areas where it's stronger. So if you stop when the muscle's at its weakest, you still have gas left in the tank and your muscle's not completely fatigued. I'm very big on blasting the muscle. I'm very big on fatiguing the muscle. I don't recommend working out for 2 hours at a time. I don't necessarily recommend anymore doing crazy, stupid amounts of volume, but I do recommend using the time that you have in the gym effectively and going to failure and blasting the muscle to oblivion. And isometric contractions can help. Try that. Try doing more holds. Try doing more squeezing positions in the middle for working sets, for burnout. It's absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for joining me on Facebook Live, Periscope, and Busker. Also YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes, and Stitcher. I will see everyone tomorrow at 12 noon Eastern Time for episode 141 of The Daily Mother Swole. And in honor of Flex Friday, everyone, wherever you are, even though I can't see you, put your arms up, squeeze those biceps, and let's do a nice big isometric contraction together. Meyer the gain train. We're going all the way to Boston, Mass. with one stop in Jacksonville, and we're going to finish up in Swole Lake City. So I'll see you there. Peace out. I'll see you tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. Have a good weekend.